deal could be brought back for a third meaningful vote this week. There are signs a number of MPs are now willing to support her withdrawal agreement after previously voting against it. Rehman Chishti resigned as a vice chair of the Conservative Party in November in protest over the PM's Brexit plan. He now says, though, he's prepared to give it his vote. And Mr. Chishti joins us now from Westminster. Thank you very much indeed for speaking to us. So what has changed your mind?
Well, I think for me, as somebody who voted Leave, and I represent a constituency which voted Leave by 65%, the reality, day by day, is this. This is a Remain Parliament, which either wants to frustrate delivering Brexit, or deliver a soft Brexit, or delivering no Brexit at all. And having spoken to my constituencies out and about, they want me to ensure that we get on and deliver Brexit in line with what the people voted nearly 3 years ago. So it's either voting for the Prime Minister's deal now, and of course I have concerns, but there is a greater concern that with the way Parliament is behaving, a Remain Parliament, that we may not get Brexit at all. And on that basis, with a heavy heart, if the Prime Minister puts the motion again, then I will be voting for it.
But would you still consider it a deal that makes the UK a vassal state of the European Union, as described by Jacob Rees-Mogg?
Well, look, what I would say is I have a concern, and I made it very clear with regards to the backstop. However, if in the next stage we get a brilliant negotiation team, and that team works its socks off, then we can get a best trading deal for the United Kingdom, and we do not have to consider going into a backstop. So for me, there are two choices. Either we risk not having Brexit at all, or we vote for what the Prime Minister is putting forward on the table and deliver Brexit. There is some risk with that, but there is a greater risk, and I say a greater risk, of not having Brexit at all, looking at how Parliament is behaving, looking at the votes that took place yesterday, looking at no deal being taken off the table. That was completely wrong. I voted to keep the no deal on the table, to strengthen the Prime Minister's hand, to ensure that if our European counterparts do not want to give us a good deal, then we have the option of walking away. That's been taken off. Parliament voted for an extension. I voted against that. The reality is this is a Remain Parliament. Either we back the Prime Minister to delivering on Brexit, on the referendum result and leaving, or having the uncertainty of not having Brexit at all.
So, OK, I just want to get to the nub of your thinking here, because you say you can stomach voting for this deal if a fresh negotiating team comes in and does a brilliant deal afterwards with regards to our future relationship. So, does that mean that it's conditional on the Prime Minister saying that she will not be in charge of that?
Well, I never said that. What I said is that, we need
why would the negotiating team change without a change of leadership?
Well, I think the discussions that I've had with the Prime Minister, and I've had those discussions, these are private discussions. I'm not going to go into this, but let me make this point very clear. I made it very clear to the Prime Minister we need a new negotiating team working on trade to look at the next stage. The next stage is a different process with different requirements and different skill sets. And I understand, and the view that I put very clearly, that must be the case. And on that basis, the second part will have, in my view, would need a new team to take it forward, and I know the Prime Minister is very committed to ensuring that we deliver on Brexit.
Is she committed? So she said that she's committed to changing who is in charge of this process, negotiating with the European Union.
Look, I'm not.
You said you've had discussions.
I've said to you. Look, my view is I've had a meeting with the Prime Minister, and I made my views very clear. I want to ensure that we have the best possible negotiating team taking the United Kingdom into the next stage. The next set of negotiations, which are requiring a different skill set. My job was to make very clear to the Prime Minister what I thought needed to be done. I'm not going to go into, what the discussions were, what the response were, but I made my position very clear on that. And look, okay. I resigned from all government positions to say that I had concerns with that, but now there's a choice. Either you deliver Brexit, back the Prime Minister, or you go down the route of long delay, take part in European elections. The public would never forgive us for that. On that basis, I'll back the Prime Minister with a heavy heart. OK,
so you don't need to tell us about the discussions, but you'll back her, and you're happy for her to be in charge of that process in the future?
Well, the reality is the Prime Minister won a confidence vote in December, and therefore the Prime Minister is entitled to be the Prime Minister of our country.
If she doesn't, there are suggestions floating around at the moment that this meaningful vote 3 might come back towards the end of this week. If it doesn't, and we have a situation tomorrow where you have to put your preference for an indicative vote, what would your preference be tomorrow?
Well, let me make it very clear. I think the way the timing has been put forward, I want to leave on the 22nd of May, and that is with a deal. And my understanding is, on that basis, the motion has to be put by Friday. And that's why, having looked at the various different options, I do not want a soft Brexit, which is what some are pushing for. And in this Remain Parliament, you could possibly have a softer version with a customs union passing. And I do not want that. And that's why, with a heavy heart, I will back the Prime Minister when the motion is put. And I hope it is put back on Thursday or Friday so that we can leave on the 22nd of May.
OK, Rehman Chishti, there's a bell going in the background. I don't know that means you have to go, but we'll have to leave it there anyway. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
This is Sky News.